Hey, welcome to Diligent Dad. I'm Andrew, and it's my mission with the channel to help you with your early steps in fatherhood. If you like what you see today, please hit subscribe, and remember to hit the bell icon too, in order to be notified when I release new videos every week. Well, having babies comes with a whole new dictionary of terminology, which will leave you feeling bewildered if you haven't heard it before. Today I'm going to tell you about some of the terms you can expect to hear getting bandied about in the delivery suite. We're going to talk about dilation, forceps, gas and air, induced or induction, and caesarean. Okay, so as the baby starts to come, the cervix starts to open and the baby starts to move downwards along the birth canal and towards the bright lights of the delivery ward or wherever mum is delivering the baby. Dilation is a measure of how far the cervix has opened, and it's a common indicator of progress through the labour. Dilation ranges from 0 centimetres to 10 centimetres, which is when the baby is almost ready to be born. So yes, mum's cervix, which is normally closed at 0 centimetres, gets stretched to a width of 10 centimetres. So 10 centimetres wide, right? That wide-ish. So 1 in 8 babies will need some help progressing through the birth canal for a variety of reasons related to the geometry of mum, the baby, or some other complication. When the baby needs this help, an assisted delivery, it's called an assisted delivery, will be performed, and most often this will be done using a set of instruments called forceps. Forceps are smooth metal instruments that look like spoons or tongs that are curved to fit around the baby's head. So mum will have a cut made to allow for the insertion of the forceps inside mum and around the baby's head, and those forceps will then be used, the other end of the handles of the forceps will then be used to guide the baby out of mum. Okay. A very delicate procedure done by trained professionals in the delivery suite, and it just helps that baby come in as healthy and as safe way as possible. Now, these forceps are hard metal instruments, and yes, they are softened off around the edges to minimize the impact, but after use you would expect to see some small marking on the baby's head, maybe some mild bruising, possibly some mild cuts, slight cuts on the baby's head. And so those will typically take about 48 hours to heal. After which there's no longer any impact. Really safe bit of gear, and much safer than the alternative of not being able to control the baby's head at all as the baby comes out of mum. Okay. Mum will also, having had the incision to allow for the insertion of the forceps, mum will also require stitches, which will take a little bit of time after the labour, on top of everything else that mum has gone through. A very common procedure, and it's done every day in every hospital all over the UK. So something you can trust the professionals with. Now, I'm probably not telling you something you don't already know if I tell you that labour is one of the very most painful things that any human being could ever go through. It comes with a range of pain relief options. Okay, and these pain relief options range from using a birthing pool right up to the far extreme of like general anaesthetic, knock mum out for half an hour to get the baby out in extreme circumstances. Okay. I'm going to do a separate video on the pain relief options, just so you're super familiar with all the different options that might be offered to you. But I just want to go into one now, because this is one which I'd expect that most women will use. It's gas and air. Okay, called gas and air. Also called Entonox. Gas and air is just a mixture of oxygen and nitrous oxide. The breathing in of gas and air just helps to soothe the pain symptoms that mum is experiencing. Certainly won't get rid of all the pain, but it will definitely ease the pain that mum is feeling. It's very popular because it doesn't require any invasive procedure. It's very easy to use. You just have a little nozzle that mum can breathe on as much as she wants, and mum can fully control it herself, taking as much as she likes with minimal side effects. The only real side effects that you see with gas and air are like a dry throat for a couple of days, because when mum's been breathing on this gas and air mixture for a number of hours, it does dry out the throat. So mum might have a bit of a cough after. But the downside of having that cough is massively offset by just the benefits to mum in terms of managing that pain relief. For a number of reasons, the most common of which is that the baby doesn't appear to be coming by about 42 weeks. Mum can be induced, and what we mean by that is that labour is induced, chemically induced in mum. Okay, mum's body, or mum and the baby haven't yet decided that the baby's ready to come. Although I'm sure that by 42 weeks, mum is probably very, very ready for the baby to come. But the baby hasn't decided to come yet after 42 weeks, and typically in the UK, the hospitals won't let it go any further than that, so they will induce mum, induce labour in the mum. This is done by using, by replacing the natural hormones which induce labour, by replacing those using either tablets or gel or a combination of both, okay, which are designed to trigger labour to start. The exact procedure is a bit of an imprecise blend of science and good midwife judgment. But it's, again, very, very common in the UK. It happens every day. Most hospitals, a woman will be induced. In fact, I think it happens in about 20% of all UK pregnancies. 20% of all UK pregnancies are induced. So it's a very, very well trodden path, and the baby will be in extremely safe hands. Okay. What's often found with induced labours is that they last a good bit longer than natural births, because mum's body isn't quite ready for it yet, so we're using these chemicals to try and trigger labour, but mum's body isn't fully ready for it yet, so it might take a little bit while to come around to the idea and kick into action with the labour. And when it does kick in, it's very often a lot more painful than a conventional labour, natural labour. Okay, so mum will kind of go, once it does kick in, mum will go from 0 to 100 on the pain scale rather quickly, and will be crying out for whatever pain relief she can possibly get. And as it happens, about 90% of all labours in the UK end up going to epidural. Okay, epidural injection in the spine numbs everything from about chest height downwards temporarily. You'll be glad to hear. I'll cover more about epidurals in my pain relief video, but the 90% of all induced labours go to epidural. So you wouldn't be surprised if that happens in your case. Okay. For getting induced, dad needs to be ready for a long labour, could last into a couple of days. Okay, so you need to be thinking to yourself, how do you support mum over a couple of days? Mum being the most important person in this. You support mum over a couple of days. And maybe half an eye on yourself. If this goes to 2 or 3 days, you don't want to be going 2 or 3 days without sleep, because fundamentally, after the induced labour, mum is going to be very, very tired, and you're going to be taking over the majority of responsibilities as soon as you get home from the hospital. Okay, so you need to be getting yourself ready to support mum, as well as being ready that once you come home from hospital, you are 100% on call all day, every day for a week or so, because mums quite simply will be capable for it. For a number of reasons then, it might not be possible to deliver your baby naturally along the birth canal. In this case, mum can expect to have a caesarean section, sometimes called a C-section. So called because legend would have us believe that Julius Caesar was born via C-section. And a caesarean involves mum having a spinal block or an epidural. See my pain relief video for more details on those. And in a C-section, a cut measuring 10 to 20 centimetres long is made across the abdomen to allow for the direct removal of the baby from the womb straight into the delivery ward without going via the birth canal. Okay, so the baby is lifted straight out of the womb into the delivery ward. Caesarean section typically takes on average about 40 to 50 minutes. Okay, and again, incredibly common procedure happening every single day up and down the UK. So if you go to that C-section, sounds severe, mum will be getting an epidural, she'll be getting like 100% pain relief, she won't be able to feel a thing below her chest, she'll be going into an operating theatre, she'll be getting up to 20 centimetres incision across her abdomen, but it's a very, very common procedure. So you take confidence from that, give mum confidence in that it is severe and it's a major operation, but it happens every day. A great majority of cesarean sections are like completely smooth procedure. Okay, they happen every single day. These doctors and nurses are performing cesareans every single day up and down the UK. Obviously, it's a major procedure, so mum is going to have to stay in hospital for at least 3 to 4 days compared to the 1 or 2 days if mum has gone through a natural birth. And after mum has come out of hospital, again, that 20 centimetre incision isn't going to heal straight away by any means, so mum is going to need you to be ready to support her and support the baby, support any other siblings you might already have, and to do everything else around the house for at least a couple of weeks until that wound is fully healed up. And I think mum is probably not allowed to drive for something like 6 weeks. So you need to be making plans that any sort of transport that's required, you need to be caring for that, you need to be making plans for that, okay, once you come out of hospital. So cesarean section, major operation, gets the baby out very quickly if there are concerns at the hospital that the baby's not going to make it down the birth canal or there's going to be some other complication, but very, very common procedure and nothing to worry about. Leave it in the hands of the doctors and nurses, do what they say once that cesarean's happening. Okay, dads, so that's a quick fire through the main things you can expect to hear said in the delivery suite. If you've any other questions, please fire them into the comments and I'll aim to answer them in subsequent videos. Look, if I've helped you today at all, please hit subscribe, hit the bell icon, make sure you get notified of those future videos, and thanks for watching. I'll see you again soon.